Welcome back. So today I am just having a demonstration about clothes and where the rips and the tears occur. So this sweater here, if you'll notice, there's a big hole. But where is it? So it's actually in the seam. So again, it is a knit, so it's different than if it was, a piece of clothing that wasn't of yarn. But for the most part, when it's in the seam and the fabric isn't really compromised, which it doesn't look like it is very much, it's not going to show that much because the difference is, so here is another dress that, in the holes, has a similar thing. So this also came out of the seam, but the big difference is that this fabric is all compromised. You're not going to be able to sew it back into the seam. And when you actually try to get to the seam, it's very hard to get to. So the only real solution that I can come up with this is if you fold some of this under and then go ahead and either hand stitch or machine stitch it down. Now, this does mean that basically because you're folding it over, you're making this outer layer a little bit shorter in the torso. And this dress actually has quite a few problems with that. Like here up at the shoulder seam, it also has a problem with that. So I'm going to do the best I can to try to patch it, but it's not as sure-proof as other methods. So for this sweater, I'm actually just going to hand stitch it. And I know that depending on what type of sewing you usually do, you might have more proficient hand stitching than me, but I will just go through and I have this thread that matches pretty well. And I'm probably going to do it both ways, meaning a straight stitch and then kind of do maybe like a blanket looking stitch. You do, if you can, want to pick up some of these loops that are escaping so that the threads don't all come undone. Just going to pick those up like this. And we're just going to go like that.
Or that's basically all that you want me to.
So I have um, pinned this together by a method of just folding down that raw frayed edge. And I do have to say, this feels like a little bit of an experiment. It's not my preferred method to fix something, but sometimes, not all the time, we just want to get something wearable again. So I know that I had an instance today where someone asked me about hemming jeans, the method where you like reuse the store-bought hem. And maybe I'm just quirky, but like that is one of the methods that I don't ever really prefer to use because I think it's just as easy to truly make a new hem. So I'm folding this down and in, and you'll notice it's at the waistband, so this is going to need to stretch. I'm going to attempt to make a stitch there over this. I'm going to slow down the machine. This is my push to start machine that I could run by foot pedal, but I've actually gotten so used to the push to start feature that okay, that's a little too slow for me. There we go. So I'm literally just trying to fold in the tear and stretch as I go. And so you'll notice I'm definitely starting and stopping a little bit here. And what it might be easier to do is literally fold down the whole thing, because then it will keep it from looking like you took from some places and not from others. But it's not. Fabric doesn't feel like it's cooperating the way that I wanted it to. Let's see. Here, it's not stretching. So I'm actually going to cut it and see. Not terrible, not the best, not the worst. We can turn this under. It's a lot. Especially in those places where the fabric is highly compromised. It feels like there's a lot coming out of that. So I think I'm going to just keep trying. Just go along and keep trying to ease it in. So you'll put it back on the machine. And keep going along. And looking at these, they both worked. So this is actually where all of that seam was coming out. And I stitched it down and it kind of blends in with this stitching that was around the elastic anyway. So I'm actually relatively pleased with it. You know, we saved a garment. It's going to be able to go back into the closet and be used. And it wasn't the perfect solution, but it was a good solution. And then here is this item, this sweater. And let me actually see where I fixed it. Oh, so right here, this is my seam. And on the outside, it looks like this. Totally workable solution, fixed, and it's going to go back into use, back into the closet. So as always, you know, if you like these tips, tutorials, just be sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to ask questions or leave me a comment in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. You can shop tutorials and classes on my website, naomifeda.net. Be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, may God sow his love into your heart today.